I was born in Lynn. To me, my childhood was normal. Looking back at it now, my dad was a pretty sick-minded individual, a lot of abuse. I remember my dad doing things like holding my mom down, shooting her up with drugs, the abuse, things like that, but I always thought it was a dream, so I didn't realize how crazy it really was. My mom loved us enough to make us feel that it was normal and didn't realize all the problems that were going on around us. She worked, so she wasn't home a lot to see the worst of it, and we were too afraid to tell her as we got older. When she did find out, she left. My mom, she was just so amazing. I always knew how hard she fought to give us the best life and protect us from what she could. And I always respected that, and our bond was something that I can never describe. You know, my son fought him back, and I fought, of course, and it was really difficult for me because I had to tell my mom, you know, when she came back that had happened, and of course she had my back, and it was just a really crappy thing to go through, you know, and my son watching, and then not long after that, my mom was in a hospital. She was getting sick a lot. They kept sending her home, saying it was a urinary tract infection, and she ended up being admitted into the hospital. She was in ICU. I had 2 hours to get to the hospital. By the time I got there, she was in a coma. She didn't make it. So I'm sorry. That destroyed me. It literally destroyed me. So. She told me to sniff a line, and I did. And it was heroin. And that was it. I thought I was always stronger, that not me, not ever will that be me, you know? And it was. And there was no turning back at that point. I had no options, and I slept outside with my kids. And each of them had a head in my lap, and I just knew I had to do what I had to do. I was so humiliated that I just didn't talk to anybody for months. A lot of the times I was at the cemetery with my mother. I'd sleep there. I couldn't get any kind of help. So I was going to kill myself. And it was at Andrew Station. And I had a phone, but I didn't have Wi-Fi or anything, but it automatically connected to Dunkin' Donuts Wi-Fi. And there was a text messages from Messenger just coming through, and there was messages from my son, Jordan. I can't describe what that made me feel, because if I didn't get that, I wouldn't be here right now. And then I just knew that I had to keep pushing and keep pushing, and then it was so weird from that point on. It just never turned back, and I went into treatment, and I just kept going and going until they found places for me. And I was always seemed to be placed in the right places this time. And then I heard about the St. Francis House.
The first time that she came here, the first thing that she said was, I want to get my kids back. I want to rebuild my family. And everything she did had that in the back of her head. And so she was able to sort of push herself forward, knowing what her end goal was. And she never gave up on that. And I think it's amazing.
When I came to the St. Francis House, I felt it in my gut, in my heart, like my whole body, that St. Francis House, this is where I belonged.
I think Patricia's main barrier was really just herself. I mean, she had the knowledge, the ability, the skills to be able to go anywhere she wanted, but she wasn't convinced of that herself. St. Francis House helped Patricia realize that she should have had that confidence all along.
It's this type of program that helps, especially women my age, to be able to get you on track to help you succeed in this, and that's exactly what St. Francis and the MAP program did for me. So we only fit, we'll do those sales with like 5 people.
Oh, wow. When I first hired Trish, I didn't know anything about her. I didn't know where she came from or anything about it. And I hired her on her own merit. So when she came in, she was just a team member. So she would be on the register, she would pass out food, do drinks and things like that. Or if there was an issue in the store, she would look it up. It wasn't her responsibility, it wasn't her job to do so, but she did it. And so for that reason, we recognized her as someone who should lead. And that's why she was promoted to be the general manager of both locations now.
I challenge myself every day, and there's just no standing still for me. It's all about rising and just going further and further and further.
St. Francis House was a big part of her life because it kept her grounded. She had goals, she had ways, and a whole program to go through. She's an amazing story, and I'm so proud that I'm a part of it.
Getting custody of my children again was the most rewarding, I can't even find the words. Everything, all the hard work was worth it at that point. That day finally came. They're my purpose in life, and I'll always be there to guide them in any decisions that they choose to make, any direction, whatever they want to do with their lives.
Patricia's been through some things that I don't think most people could ever even imagine, and to pick herself up from all of that, from experiencing addiction, from sleeping on the streets, to being where she is right now, I think that's the power of the services that we offer here at St. Francis House and what's capable to be done for every guest that we have if they so desire.
St. Francis House saved my life. For people that need help, they're there to help save somebody's life. And it definitely saved mine.